Hi everybody, Misty here with Pixel Financial on Monday, April 13th. I always call Mondays No Makeup Monday, but clearly I've got makeup on today just for you. It's also been a few days since I've done a video, primarily because I felt like everybody needed a little bit of a breather from all of the information that's flying around at the speed of light, including myself. I have crammed more information into my head over a shorter period of time than I have since I was in college. And this time I actually care about how important the information, and I want to make sure that I understand it as best as I can for you. Today, what I want to be talking about are the Payroll Protection Program loans, the PPPs, and sole proprietors and how that's going to work. Last Friday, they rolled out the applications for sole proprietors to apply for the PPP loans. Now, I want to define sole proprietor. Sole proprietor is anyone who has a business in which they have not incorporated their business, anybody who has an LLC but is still taxed as a sole proprietor, and any independent contractors out there who don't really consider themselves a business but they receive their income via 1099, freelancers, for example. Those are also what I consider and the government considers to be sole proprietors. All of you report your income on the Schedule C of your individual tax return. The Schedule C is income or loss from business activities. So all of you, sole proprietors, so I'm just going to use the one term today, sole proprietors. Now, you're going to need to have your 2019 Schedule C in place. And I know a lot of people out there are a little shocked at that as they don't have their taxes done yet. And honestly, I don't know what to tell you there. It may be that your financials, a profit and loss, and a balance sheet will suffice for the banks, but it's going to be on a bank-by-bank basis. And if you don't have a good set of books together, it's going to be really difficult to turn them around fast enough to benefit from the PPP loans. So this is one of the reasons it's always a great idea to make sure that you've got that stuff as up to date as possible at any given moment in time. But that's kind of how it's going to work. Now, there are two different situations that the PPP is going to be able to cover. One are sole proprietors who already have employees, and then sole proprietors who do not. Now, on Schedule C, box 31, you will see that it says that that is your net profit. That's going to be what you're taxed on, okay, in terms of the self-employment tax. Box 31. If you are a sole proprietor with no employees, you're going to take box 31, divide by 12, and then multiply by 2.5. And that should get you in a very close ballpark of what your PPP loan will be. For sole proprietors who have employees, you're going to take box 31 and then add back all of your payroll related expenses to include paid leave, to include healthcare benefits, retirement benefits, as well as their base salaries. And then you're going to divide that by 12 and then multiply by 2.5. So that is how you're going to calculate about where you're going to be in terms of how much the PPP loan is going to be for you. You are held under the same rules as everyone else in terms of how much of that loan is to be used for payroll and how much of that loan can be used for other operating expenses like mortgage interest, rent, and utilities. And it's that 75-25 split, 75% for payroll and 25% for non-payroll related expenses. The other thing you need to know is if your Schedule C says you made more than $100,000, they're not going to divide all of that by 12. So if you made $120,000, they're only going to go up to $100,000 and divide by 12. So that's very important that you know. It's also very important that you know if you are making $100,000 or more on your Schedule C, you need to call me because you're paying way more in taxes than you need to be. But in general, anything over $100,000 will not be taken into account. The other thing is it is going to be forgivable for you guys. I've heard some whispers that perhaps it wasn't going to be forgivable, but it is still a forgivable loan for our sole proprietors. You just have to prove that you spent the money in the correct way. Now, for sole proprietors without employees, well, and sole proprietors with employees, it's going to be harder to prove because you aren't on traditional payroll. So what I recommend is that you are physically like writing yourself a check showing that you are paying yourself X amount of dollars every time payroll runs or every week, talk to your accountants, talk to your CPAs, come up with a way to make sure that you can prove that your payroll is also being spent in the correct way. I am also recommending that if you're getting a PPP loan, that you open up a checking account just for that money, simply because it's going to be so much easier for you and your accountants and bookkeepers to track how that money is being spent. So when it comes time to apply for forgiveness, it's a non-issue. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Just remember that the Schedule C, Box 31, is going to be your friend for the 2019 tax year. Again, everybody, I will keep you updated as new information comes in, and I'm always anxious to hear how the application process works for all of you. So feel free to reach out, or if you have any questions that I need to look into or have it answered, I'm definitely more than happy to help out there as well. So you all keep safe, stay healthy, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining.